Daniel Craig suspects play. Foul play. Knives Out is directed by Rian Johnson and stars Daniel Craig, Ana de Armas, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Chris Evans, Jamie Lee Curtis, and a handful of others. So Knives Out is about a very wealthy and successful murder mystery writer named Harlan Thrombey, played by Christopher Plummer, who supposedly commits suicide. However, when a private investigator named Bennett Blanc, played by Daniel Craig, is sent to look into it, he suspects murder and is now trying to get to the bottom of it. So how is Knives Out? Well, let's start out by getting into the good. So the first positive I take away from Knives Out is the first act. The first act of this movie mostly consists of the interrogations of the family. And I found the interrogation sequences very interesting and a really effective way to build the characters in the story. Again, the interrogation sequences take up an entire act of the movie, and I never felt like it dragged at all. It fleshed out the characters really well and made everyone a suspect. In addition to the first act, I also really liked the look and feel of this movie. It has a really classic movie feel about it. The way this movie presents itself has a very classic murder mystery feel to it. The score was also done very well by Nathan Johnson, and it really helped build that classic movie feel. And I'm never really someone to talk about set design unless it's really bad, but I gotta say, the set design in this movie was awesome. The house was designed to really celebrate Harlan Thrombey's writing career, so he incorporated a lot of elements from his books into the house, and it makes for a really cool setting. A character in the movie even said that the house is kind of like a life-size clue board, and, well, it hit the nail on the head. It absolutely is. With all that said, I have quite a few negatives, so let's get into the bad. So my first negative is the second act of this movie. Like I said, the first act does a great job setting up the characters in the family, and it's a big family to set up. Then when the second act comes, the script just completely abandons a vast majority of the family to focus on just a couple characters. And after the script abandons a vast majority of its characters, it struggles to find a way to keep them relevant. So the movie places the family in pointless arguments and political debates that don't flesh out the characters or provide anything relevant to the story. They're just placed in the script to remind you, hey, remember these characters? Well, they're still in the movie. Another negative I have with this movie is the house nurse, Marta Cabrera, played by Ana de Armas. My negative is not with her character or her performance. My problem is with her relationship with her mother and how it's written. The story emphasizes that her mother is very important to her, but all you get is a half-minute scene with her, and that's it. In addition, Cabrera barely ever mentions her. So every so often the story brings up her mother, and I had to remind myself every time why she's so important. Had they taken a little bit more time to build on the character of her mother, I think it really would have paid off, but how it was played out in the movie, it just fell flat. Now, I don't normally have a segment to talk about the mixed aspects of a movie, but Knives Out has a few elements that are a bit of a mixed bag for me, so let's get into it. So one of the mixed bag elements I have with this movie is the character of Bennett Blanc, played by Daniel Craig. I did enjoy Craig's performance. He brings a lot of charm and charisma to the role. With that said, I take issue with his character, Blanc. At times, Blanc just seems like a genius, and at other times he seems like a bumbling idiot. The movie tries to sell me that he's a genius, but I just don't buy it. In addition, another mixed bag part of this movie for me is the story structure. The movie has a story structure that's very unique. It breaks the typical mystery movie mold, and I really appreciate that. The problem is there's not much payoff. The ending is somewhat predictable, which is disappointing for a mystery movie. Overall, Knives Out has its highs, it has its lows, and it has its mixed elements. It started off great, but then grinds to a halt in the second act, and then picks back up for a good, albeit slightly predictable ending. There's enjoyment to be had with this movie, but it has its fair amount of issues, so I'm going to give Knives Out a C+. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to keep yourself updated on future content. Also, check out my buddy Jeremy's website, The Daily Rotation. I'll put a link in the description. He has a review coming soon for Knives Out, so stay tuned for that.